I know that I've talked about this before, but I don't think that I can talk about it enough. I am so tired of seeing people in Arkansas get less time for raping a child or SAing a child. And by child, I do mean someone under the age of 16, because 16 is the age that legally we set aside to say this person can decide what to do with their bodies, which is insane because I did things between 17 and even 20 that I am ashamed to admit at this age. But I digress. I don't understand why people are getting more time in prison for drug charges than they are getting for raping or SAing these children. And that's the name of the charge, even if a 14-year-old girl says that she was okay with it, it's still rape. So if you don't believe that that charge should be labeled as rape, a charge with a 14 or 15-year-old, then that's a debate for another day. Something that I am fully in support of is drug court, because someone that is in possession of drugs, especially single use, they obviously have a drug problem. Someone who is in possession of a controlled substance or drug paraphernalia, why are we still sending those people to prison when we know that there are more drugs in prison than there are on the street? Sending someone that has a substance abuse issue to prison is not a punishment that's going to help the issue. They're not going to get out of prison a majority of the time and think, well, dang, I just spent 3 years behind bars for having that substance, so I'm going to stay away from that substance. I mean, they might for a little while, but it's probably not going to stay that way because they're an addict. And addiction is something that needs treatment. And while we're on the issue of controlled substance charges in the state of Arkansas, why are we arresting people for possession of marijuana still in the year of our Lord 2024? And I do realize that in the state of Arkansas, you have to have a card for it to be legal to have it, or whatever, however that works. But, and I'm not trying to turn this into a political issue, so please don't do that. But I kind of feel like arresting someone for possession of marijuana is like punishing them because you didn't get the money from the sale of that, right? It's something that is just petty, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert on the issue. But I think that should be the least of anyone's worries. I think that people who are getting charged with possession and paraphernalia, especially simple possession, should be going to drug court. I feel like you could probably take a hard look at someone and know that they got a drug problem. So, obviously because of that, I don't understand why we are filling up our jails and prisons with people who have drug problems and whose issues with the law could hopefully be solved by drug court. And that would free up space for people who have, more serious issues, like people who are unaliving people or sexual offenders, like especially heavy on the sexual offenders, because there are so many of those that are wandering around free. I think that drug court, if you aren't familiar with drug court, it's pretty intensive, right? Because they are forced to go to counseling, group counseling, take regular drug tests, take surprise drug tests, reevaluate their associations. They are forced to get and keep jobs in the community, do community service. They are forced to go to rehab sometimes whenever they have sanctions. It is an entire program within the legal system designed to, if you can stick with the program, take it seriously, then you can have your criminal charges, wiped clean from your record. You will not, be going to prison. But if you don't take it seriously, then the alternative is you go to prison. And I think that that is very fair, but there are so many that aren't getting the opportunity with drug court and are being sent to prison. And instead, we have so many sexual offenders, which I feel like are so much more of a danger to our children, and people that are doing things to hurt our children and other people. And those people are walking free in the community because our prisons are overcrowded. I mean, just a simple little ADC search tells me that 1,560 people, men and women, in the Arkansas Department of Corrections have or have had in the past controlled substance charges. Now, I don't know what kind of charges those are, just that they are charges that fall in the controlled substance category. But just the first one that comes up, a man named Abernathy. Now, he has had other charges, as you can see, but his current prison sentence right now, he's been sentenced to 20 years out of Ashley County because he was sentenced as a habitual offender. And he was arrested, charged with having a controlled substance between 2 and 10 grams. Now, that tells me that's someone not only that has a drug issue, but someone who is moving a little bit, But obviously, he's got an issue because look at all the other charges. They're almost all drug related. The next one is a man who has drug charges in several different counties, has had for years since 2000, drug charges, not only possession, simple possession, but possession with intent to deliver, 10 years in prison. So he's going to be sitting there, won't even come up for parole until 2026. Does he have a drug problem? Likely. Why is he not in drug court? The next one is a woman named Yolanda Adair. She was first sent to prison in 2017 behind a drug charge, simple possession less than 2 grams of a controlled substance. She got the same charge in 2021, along with a paraphernalia and a domestic battery. She was sentenced to 2 years on all of that. She went up for parole at the end of 2023. She's still sitting in prison. Another one, a man from Crawford County. It looks like he got 2 kinds of drug charges, along with a paraphernalia charge. This all happened in 2020. He got a sentence enhancement being a habitual offender because he had been in prison multiple times over drug charges, and it looks like 1 non-support charge at some point in time. The drug charges were personal meth, less than 2 grams. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. And guys, these are just a few. This is not the exception. These, by and large, are the rule. And I don't know, these people could be, trash cans, if you want to say that. I don't know these people personally. I don't know if they would make drug court work for them or not. But why are we not trying it? Why are we, sending people to prison? I don't even care about the drugs, if I'm being quite honest. What I care about is that there are people that are hurting our children that are not in prison. Drugs destroyed my family. Members of my family destroyed things, parts of my family, behind drugs. And I hate drugs. I really, truly do. But you know what I hate worse? People that hurt kids. I hate people that hurt kids worse. That's what I have a bigger problem with. So anyway, if you listen to the end of this, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I went on this long diatribe just to say that I don't understand what we're doing in the state of Arkansas, why we're not protecting our kids, and instead drugs are a bigger issue as far as the state goes than people who harm children.